Hey viewers and viewers, my name is General Red Strategist and welcome to the 16th episode of Project Eden's Garden. Now, we're on to the first proper murder trial of the game. Wolfgang Akira, of course, is dead. He was found in the boiler room, estimated time of death 9:35 AM. And we've done our investigation, we've found a lot of different elements to it, and there are little bits of information that I think are being deliberately withheld from us at this moment, probably because they're going to be revealed in this trial. You know, just off the top of my head, the example, or the main example of that, obviously being what's going on with that taser that was recovered from the scene, that kind of thing, as well as obviously Grace as well, is clearly sort of not telling everything to us. So, at the moment, I don't have any particular person in mind in terms of who I think is a suspect. I think this is going to be one of those ones where we're going to have to pay very close attention. Once we figure out the cause of death, maybe then we'll start to get some suspicious individuals in mind. Before we do anything else, let's go into our trinket. Let's just review our truth bullets one more time, as I always do before trials. So we have the blackout as the top one up here. At the time of his murder, Winona and Ulysses were by the giant tree. Winona does not recall a blackout happening. Same goes for Eloise, who spent her morning in the courtyard with Desmond. So, key thing here, blackout was not through the entire... Well, it didn't occur throughout the whole facility. It was very much in the dorm area where it occurred, because that has its own power supply in the basement. Blood spots, also incidentally, blackout probably happened around about the same time as the murder had occurred, because of the fact that we have a well, we'll see, there's another truth bullet later that supports it. Drops of blood scattered around the boiler room door, also scattered in the outside hallway. So someone who was bleeding has been through here. I think they said this was kind of dried though when we were investigating. Doesn't actually say it here in the truth bullet though. Boiler room doorknob. Now this has been flipped so the lock is on the outside of the door, which is really weird, because previously it must have been on the inside of the door, so you can only lock it from within, but now you can lock it from outside. Which makes me wonder why someone tried to lock Wolfgang inside or something. It makes me wonder if, yeah, this is kind of like a premeditated trap, potentially. It feels like it. Burn marks all over Wolfgang's hands. Now, the thing I'd sort of hypothesised here was, had Wolfgang been poisoned? And I feel like it could be that, but I don't know if that's the cause of death necessarily. I don't know if these burn marks are to do with poison, or if they're caused by the fact that apparently the generator blew. DJ pad clock. Now this is the thing that supports the idea that the murder and the blackout happened at the same time. Digital clock on Mark's DJ pad is frozen at 9:35 AM. Mark believes the blackout caused some kind of internal damage to his DJ pad, and the clock is frozen on the time it last displayed before power was lost. Extension cord. Tattered extension cord floating in the water. No internal plug. Only a frayed tip, lined with a black substance. Collection of similar looking extension cords discovered in storage closet D. These ones fully intact, and the internal plugs were particularly slim. So is this part of some kind of trap to set off an explosion? Possibly. Footsteps. Yeah, these are the footsteps that Kai and Damon heard when they were in storage closet C. Soft footfalls, meaning that whoever was running was not wearing shoes. Because Cassidy and Jet were talking apparently when in the closet they were exploring, and they basically didn't hear this. Game tournament timeline. Game tournament began at 9 AM, attended by 8 people. Of those 8, 6 competed. Kai, Damon, Jet, Cassidy, Jean and Grace. Obviously Mark was also there. Who was the other one? Ava, that's right. First match was between myself and Kai, but our game was cut short by the blackout. Half the generator's wires were melted. What remained intact had been completely singed, like a bomb went off inside the machine. It's interesting that this extension cord was very close to it, and as well as that there was something else, which we'll get to in a second. Grace said that Wolfgang was going to attend the tournament with her, but he had to cancel after waking up with a sore stomach. He encouraged Grace to attend the tournament with Jean instead. Interesting that Wolfgang said he had a sore stomach. Don't know if that's true though. A knife found floating in the water. On the blade and in the surrounding water was the unmistakable colour of blood. While inspecting the kitchen, Damon discovered a knife block inside one of the cabinets, and the block happened to have a missing knife. Odd smell, this. Air in the boiler room smelled like an odd combination of cereal and alcohol. Jean believes the smell is a result of a chemical reaction. So actually, yeah. So this may be whatever chemical was potentially used to create some kind of explosive. Possibly, because Jean said he smelled it. Wolfgang said he had a stomach problem, and I'm sure there was a couple of other people who fell off as well. Because Ingrid apparently was a bit ill. And someone else, wasn't there, who said they just felt kind of off. Was it Kai? I don't know. But I wonder if this has something to do with it. Shrapnel. Chunks of an unidentified material were floating in the water near the generator. Makes me think some kind of very rudimentary explosive charge. Possibly hooked up to the extension cord, or some kind of trigger, I don't know. Steel rolling pin. Discovered inside storage closet A. On one end is a small dent, on the other two very clear handprints. Now Wolfgang's body did have a bruise on the back of the neck, so he might have been struck with this, I don't know. Storage closets. Of course, this was actually found in one of the storage closets, not actually at the crime scene itself. So if it was used in the way I think it was, and at some point it's made its way into the storage closet somehow. So this is the layout of the storage closets. So Ava and Grace were in A, Jet and Cassidy in B, Kai and Damon in C, Jean and Mark in D. Suspicious note found inside Wolfgang's blaze pocket. A few words can be made out. Secret 8:15 AM and close the door. So I raised the possibility, was this meant for Wolfgang? I don't think I've found any other details that would suggest it was meant for anyone else. Taser found at the scene of the crime. Doesn't really say anything about the fact that apparently there's bits of it missing. Thin piece of metal. Small thin piece of metal discovered near the boiler room door. Which I'm wondering if I suppose the generator explosion, the charge that was set to make it, I don't know, blow up and possibly kill Wolfgang. Actually, I haven't said that, no. Because they mentioned, obviously, if it was an explosion that killed Wolfgang, surely his clothes would be burnt as well, and they weren't. It just seems to be his hands. Which again brings us potentially back to the poison, I don't know. I was about to say, was the taser gun sort of involved in setting off an explosive charge, potentially, but we'll see. This thing, small thin piece of metal discovered near the boiler room door. Looks kind of like the ties that you used to bind the extension cords that we found in the storage closet. Toshiko's fetch quest. She left the dorms before 8 AM to fetch Ingrid some medication. On her way back, she briefly encountered Wolfgang in the hallway. Ingrid overheard bits and pieces of this, and basically she's fairly confident the encounter happened around 8:10, which is interesting, because this may or may not marry up with what Grace is saying. Tozu Tablet 2, victim is Wolfgang Akira, ultimate lawyer. Discovered in the boiler room on the ground floor, kneeling in the water, upper body slumped over the concrete platform. Estimated time of death 9:35 AM, had a look of terror on his face, which implies, to me at least, that whatever happened to him, he was conscious of it happening for a moment. Wolfgang's neck, huge discoloured mark down the back of his neck. First sign of decomposition, or was it a bruise left by something? Next to discoloration was a tiny red dot, skin around which looked inflamed. No scabbing, however, would suggest it appeared recently. This is one of the other reasons why I'm just wondering if poison is involved. Some kind of like dart, maybe, that someone has removed from his neck. But yeah, like I say, there's a lot of weird elements to this one. I'm not entirely sure yet how they fit together. So, we're just going to have to go in and do our best. So, it's a Sunday afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I have a whole afternoon ahead of me, so I'm hoping to get through the trial, play the whole thing, or most of it at the very least. Let's go. I mean, ideally I'll play all of it, because I don't want to really interrupt it partway through and then have to come back another day. Because it might mean I come back in then with rusty memories or something, which we don't want, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, right. So, I still... Oh, there we go.
Let's get this started, shall we?
I was wondering, taking a few seconds to load up then. No, I was about to say... So I said earlier, obviously I've no particular suspects in mind. There's nobody really who at this stage who I am definitely pointing to and thinking, yeah, you're definitely suspicious. I don't know what your deal is. There are definitely characters though who we need to talk to. Obviously Desmond has got information about the taser. Grace we need to talk to because something's up with her. And the other one who I'm still I really still haven't quite got a read on yet, I feel, is Diana. It's just strange. I should get my prediction sheet out as well, by the way.
Welcome back to the trial grounds, everyone. Unlike previously, today will be no circus. No mockery woven with stitches and needles.
You're referring to the title of the prologue, are you?
A true, fair, and proper trial will commence. A battle of wits between the blackened and the spotless. I doubt I have to explain the rules to you again. But even so,
May as well.
you must vote for who you believe is the blackened. If the blackened receives the majority of votes, only they will be punished, and the rest of you will resume your killing game experience. However, if you vote for the wrong person, then expect no sympathy from your hosts. All spotless students will meet a tragic end, or the blackened will be granted release from this academy. Happy discussing! We pray for your survival and success.
I know I've said it repeatedly. I like Tozu. He's a very dramatic villain. Ava? Oh, thought she was going to say something.
Can someone please break this silence?
I'll happily do that.
I don't want to talk about this.
Well, tough shit, buddy. You're going to have to.
Wolfgang deserves justice. But putting everyone's lives on the line like this is just cruel.
Oh, crap. Without a lawyer, we're totally screwed.
Well, Damon no doubt is going to try and jump into those shoes. Whether he's going to miss something, I'm not sure. We'll see.
Whenever I turn my head, I keep expecting to see him at his podium.
Oh, don't cry, Toshiko. He's in a better place now, you hear?
Sorry, you can hear me slurping tea in the background.
Whichever one of you sick bastards did this, whatever it takes, no matter if I have to kick the brains out of every single person here, I'll find you.
So you are very emphatic on this point that, you are particularly pissed about Wolfgang's death. So, I mean, we've been getting the hint that something was going on between her and Wolfgang. There might have been a bit of a budding relationship appearing, possibly. Unless it's all a bluff. And you're actually the culprit, but I'm really spitballing there. I don't have anything particularly concrete.
Do you really gotta resort to violence?
Let's just stay calm, okay? Making peace with our situation is, the first step in handling it.
Damon's probably going to jump in here. He's going to be like, God, you idiots.
How the hell can I stay calm when there's a killer on the loose? That bastard is watching us right now, fully content putting our lives on the line. Is that what you call peace? Being at the mercy of some dickhead silent observer?
Well, nobody knows for sure if the killer is even a silent observer.
There is this, possibility here that we do have to watch out for. Is there someone who tries to really sort of steer the discussion? Because that's always a thing to be wary of.
If anything, the killer might try to feign innocence through other means. For instance, pretending to be outspoken about the case.
Huh?
What the? Are you accusing me of something?
I mean, what you did during the investigation seems really suspicious.
Okay, we're talking about Grace's obstructiveness.
What did Grace do?
She stood in front of Wolfgang's dorm room and wouldn't let anyone go inside. Intentionally or not, it really hindered our investigation.
Because of Grace, almost everyone who planned to investigate Wolfgang's dorm gave up and went elsewhere. It was only after some of us started protesting that she finally relented. You know, for someone who seems so adamant about finding Wolfgang's killer, it's odd she tried to conceal potential evidence.
Yeah, you may want to just fess up. Whatever's going on there, just be open.
I'm not saying Grace is definitely the killer. I just think we should be cautious of her.
She has an alibi, though.
Huh?
Well, that's what we think at this stage, that everyone in the game tournament has an alibi, but it depends on whether some kind of trap was set up here, or whether the setup required the killer to actually be in the basement. But I don't know, that's the thing.
Grace couldn't have murdered anyone, 'cause she went to the game tournament.
Grace attended the tournament?
Does that rule her out from committing the murder?
Well, yeah. We had to be at the dining hall by 9 a.m.-ish, which was like half an hour before the murder. Nobody left the tournament after it started either. Nobody I know of, anyway.
There weren't many of us there. Had someone disappeared, it would have been obvious.
So, Grace is off the hook? Wow. That plot thread resolved itself quicker than I was anticipating.
I don't think so. We have truth bullets that kind of relate to this, so I feel like something's going to come up here.
So Jean, Grace, and Kai attended Cassidy and Jet's game tournament.
And me.
And Mark.
Damon and I also attended the tournament. We can also vouch for Grace.
You guys aren't lying, are you?
Lying about Grace?
What the heck? Are you seriously doubting 8 testimonies?
If the 8 of you were really together when Wolfgang was discovered, then Kai, doesn't that contradict what you said before the investigation?
What did he say?
You told everyone you and Damon found Wolfgang first.
Oh.
How is that possible if you guys never left the dining hall?
Okay, so we have to explain. Everyone going to investigate and splitting into the storage closets. Okay, what happened here? Damon and me, we just found him like this.
I never said I didn't leave the dining hall.
But earlier you told us you were with the other attendees.
That's because us partygoers left the dining hall together.
Yes, I think the other partygoers here need to speak up.
When the blackout struck, the tournament folk joined arms and headed straight downstairs.
Oh yeah, because you were in your room, so you can probably vouch for this.
I would know. I saw him.
There was a blackout?
Yeah, some of the people don't obviously know about this.
You don't remember?
Actually, I don't recall a power outage either.
How could that be? Did an alternate timeline converge with ours?
Yeah, if you want to believe that, Cassidy. Why is it that some people can recall a blackout but not others? Thinking back on the testimonies I've collected, I can probably make an educated guess. Yep. What are we starting with? Oh, just one of these. It affected only one building, basically.
I got it. The reason not everyone experienced the blackout is because only the building containing our dorms was affected. If I had to guess, the courtyard and tree area are connected to separate power sources.
So the tournament attendees were affected, yet they left the dining hall? Why not stay put until the power returned?
Because we were the ones who brought it back. It didn't seem like the power was being restored anytime soon, so we took up the challenge of fixing it ourselves.
Do you have to say it like that, with that expression? Makes you look very suspicious.
And just our luck, boom! We found a spare generator lying in one of the storage closets. Of course, then we found Wolfgang.
And that.
She's right. The 8 of us split into 4 pairs and inspected a storage room each.
Because of the toaster trinket map, we know which ones, too. Eva and Grace check storage closet A. Jet and I check storage closet B. Damon and Kai check storage closet C. And Jean and Mark check storage closet D.
You just saw that shadow. I think that was that Tozu we were just passing in front of.
Yeah, I was with Grace. She can confirm being with me too.
Yeah, we were together.
Can I move the mouse? No, I can't. Do you remember how in V3, when you were focused on characters, you could move the mouse? It made the camera go crazy.
Oh, I didn't realize. I'm so sorry for what I said earlier.
Sorry? You're sorry for accusing me of murder.
Okay, people, let's not lose it.
Sorry doesn't cut it, you conniving two-faced bitch! If you really want my mercy, then get on your knees and beg for it!
Jeez.
Whoa! Uncool, dude.
Hang on. Even if you aren't involved in Wolfgang's murder, you must know something about his last known whereabouts.
What makes you think she'd be privy to that?
Well, they were bunking together.
You see, there's proof Grace spent last night with Wolfgang.
Grace and Lawyer Man? Talk about an unexpected pairing.
When I investigated Wolfgang's room, I saw a bunch of golfing equipment inside. Also, there was a blue woman's jacket tossed over the mantle of Wolfgang's bed.
Ugh.
He's right. I also saw the equipment and the clothes.
The clothes are understandable, maybe. But why was golfing equipment in the room?
Yo, little history dude. Wolfgang must have spilt the beans with you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why would Ulysses know anything?
Common courtesy. If you're gonna have a one-night stand, you gotta let your roomie know in advance.
Common courtesy also says you should watch your mouth around children.
Yes, ma'am.
So if I'm getting this right, Ulysses is bunking with Wolfgang?
Well, it was, and it switched around.
Well, we only shared a dorm for one night.
You aren't bunking with him anymore?
Let me provide some context.
Yes, please do.
As you may remember, after Desmond suggested everyone bunk together, the male students were directed to the dining hall. Once there, we played rock, paper, scissors to determine who would partner with who. Jet partnered with Mark, Desmond with Jean, Damon with Kai, and I with Wolfgang. Those were the pairings at the time. However, the following day, Grace and I agreed to swap rooms.
Yeah? Why'd you do that?
For reasons.
Totally not suspicious.
It was a win-win situation. I get Grace out of my hair. She gets me out of hers.
You two were originally bunking together?
Yeah, and apparently they just can't stand one another,
The
I think.
pairings were decided via a game of tic-tac-toe. I wasn't big on my partner being chosen for me, so when the opportunity arose to change that, I took it.
Thus, I became Winona's roommate, and Grace became Wolfgang's.
Can confirm. I watched the whole thing play out.
Since the room swap happened the night after we implemented the bunk buddy system, that would mean Grace and Wolfgang have been bunking for about a day and a half.
Just gonna let them talk. They're doing a lot of the work for me here.
Ugh, gross.
In that case, Desmond was right about those two being together last night. Grace, did Wolfgang act strange at any point? Like, maybe he said something that stuck out to you, or maybe had trouble getting to sleep.
No. Nothing weird happened last night.
Was Ingrid just sort of spitballing there? Maybe he had trouble getting to sleep? Just seems an interesting thing to say.
Nothing happened last night, but...
But...
The morning of the murder, this morning, Wolfgang told me he felt sick.
Sick?
Was he though? That's the question. We don't
With
know.
a stomachache. It hurt so bad he couldn't get out of bed.
Yeah. But of course, Toshiko's account potentially contradicts this-ish. So we'll have to see how do these reconcile. Did Wolfgang lie to Grace?
I was gonna cancel my plans for today, but he convinced me to attend the tournament. So, I left his room right after the morning announcement. And yes, I'm talking about the game tournament. The same one Wolfgang acted all hesitant about attending. Newsflash, I changed his mind after breakfast yesterday.
Hold on a sec. That ain't what you told me this morning.
What did Grace tell you?
Simply put, she felt like competing. Grace knew I planned to compete as well, so she asked me to be her sparring partner, since you needed one to enter the tournament.
She withheld information.
Aye, that she did.
Why?
Of course. Since I now know Wolfgang's condition at the time, I can't say I blame her. If someone you cared for was in a vulnerable position, would you go around and admit that in a killing game?
You know, it's a good point. Yeah.
No. You would try to protect that person by saying nothing at all.
When you put it that way, man, sounds rough.
I think it's obtuse.
Huh?
Say we assume the best of Grace. She withheld information not to trick anyone, but to protect someone she cares about.
Go on, Winona, tell us what you're thinking. You strike me as though, you are quite sharp and that well, you can sort of figure things out.
What then should we make of the glaring contradiction in her testimony?
What the hell do you mean, contradiction?
If your bunking partner was too ill to make the short trek to the dining hall, how did he walk all the way to the boiler room?
That's a fair point.
Good point. If Wolfgang really were bedridden, he would have stayed in his room.
Well, I mean, I've already suggested the possibility that Wolfgang may have been lying.
Now
He didn't
that you
want Grace to
mention
know.
it, to reach the underground floor, wouldn't Wolfgang need to descend, 4 flights of stairs?
Wow, is it really that many? I thought it was just like a switchback where you go down one set, then down another, and then you're in.
It's nothing for a healthy person, but for a guy who's supposedly really sick...
It's not my fault it doesn't make sense. It's just what Wolfgang told me.
Yeah. Didn't we decide Grace wasn't the killer anyway?
That's not to say she doesn't know more than she's letting on.
I'm not withholding anything else. Leave me alone.
Is there more to the story than Grace is telling us? Yeah, clearly. Too many people are letting their emotions cloud their judgment. Need to solve this mystery and set things straight. Here we go. Non-stop debate time. Is this going to be Toshiko's thing? Possibly. Yeah. Toshiko's fetch quest. Yeah, I don't see how any of the others relate to this.
Why don't you tell everyone the truth, Grace?
Alright, there's the slowdown.
I've got nothing else to explain. The last I saw Wolfgang, he was in our dorm room.
Okay, hear me out. Secret hallways.
I don't know about
We
that.
would have found those by now.
Maybe Wolfgang was carried by the killer.
That, or Wolfgang never told Grace he was sick.
I wouldn't lie about what he said.
Okay, I think it may be carrying Wolfgang.
What if Wolfgang used the elevator in the tree?
You're not helping.
The elevator in the tree. Okay, major discrepancy in Grace's testimony, but is she necessarily at fault for that? Right, I think I know which one it is.
Everyone the truth,
How do I speed up again? Oh.
I've got...
Oh, there we go. Shift.
We would have found...
Carried by the...
This one? How do I shoot? There we go. Right click. Ooh, Damon. That was loud. Yeah. Toshiko. Her account is the one here.
It's true Grace's testimony is inconsistent with where we found Wolfgang's body. But that's not Grace's fault. The only person we should be blaming is Wolfgang himself.
What the heck? Why are you blaming him?
Simple. Because he lied about being sick.
Mm-hmm.
Seriously?
You can cooperate. Can't you, Toshiko?
Yes. You remember what you said?
During the investigation, you told me you saw Wolfgang in the hallways at 8:10 a.m.
That's after I left.
Yes. I remember now. Ingrid. She developed a headache, so I went to the pharmacy to find some medication. The trip itself went fine, but when I returned to the hallway, I found myself face to face
with Wolfgang?
Hold the phone! Toshiko actually saw Wolfgang?
We had a normal, pleasant exchange. He appeared perfectly healthy and even mentioned going to the tournament. Of course, he never made it.
I don't want to be that guy, but can anyone confirm this?
Ingrid.
Mm-hmm. I heard them chatting a while in my room. Though I was bedridden like a scenting goose, I could still make out their voices here and there.
Strange. He told Grace he wouldn't attend the tournament, but then said the opposite to Toshiko.
I was going to say as well that Ingrid saying she was bedridden, though now she's obviously up and about. But I guess, I was going to say, is there a bit of a discrepancy there? But then again, if Toshiko has brought medication, maybe that explains it. Said the opposite to Toshiko.
Sounds like he was telling fibs to conceal his actual intentions.
And what's his true plan supposed to be?
He was going to meet someone, or thought he was at least.
To go to the boiler room. Most likely.
I'm lost. What business would a guy like him have down there?
Why did Wolfgang go to the boiler room? That I can also answer. Yes, because we have the... where is it? Suspicious note. Yep, show that one. We could always just F2 to show the question. Why did he go to the boiler room?
This is it.
Easy. Straightforward.
During the investigation, I found this note tucked away inside Wolfgang's blazer pocket. A lot of it is water damaged. The paper looks like it was ripped from a notebook, and the handwriting was done in ink. But some parts are still legible.
Secret 8:15 AM, boiler room, close the door.
This mentions the boiler room.
I am assuming here that someone locked him in. Feels like it.
Exactly. The fact we found Wolfgang in the boiler room, and this note in his pocket.
It's just interesting that he said 8:15 AM to meet up, but he didn't actually die until 9:35-ish. He's been in there for what? An hour and 20 minutes?
It can't be a coincidence. This note must be the reason Wolfgang went there.
That mention of a secret sure is suspicious. I'm willing to bet Wolfie's reason had something to do with it.
Agreeing to meet a stranger in some spooky dark place? Wolfgang had nerves of steel.
Ulysses, Grace, do you remember Wolfgang getting delivered a weird note?
No. The only time I recall him receiving anything was when Tozu distributed those envelopes.
I don't know anything about a note.
Really? Wolfgang shared nothing with you guys?
Guess he didn't want them to know what it said.
I mean, you know, he could have all kinds of secrets. The motive this time around has been about, you know, secrets.
Right. And if Wolfgang wanted to keep this note a secret, he would obviously want to keep the meeting a secret too.
Then the reason he told Grace he felt sick
was to remove her from the picture. Yeah. Once she's not in the room, Wolfgang has his opportunity to sneak out and head downstairs. That's also why he encouraged her to attend the tournament.
Yes.
Didn't this same guy ask us to share our blackmail with each other? Talk about double standards.
Are we sure he wasn't just trying to protect Grace? Maybe he knew he was meeting someone dangerous, so he thought it would be safer not to involve her.
That does sound like something Wolfgang would do.
Not to interrupt, but on the subject of blackmail, did Wolfgang ever confront the person he had?
Who did he have? Was that ever confirmed, or are we about to confirm it now?
Oh? You don't know whose blackmail he got?
Well, if you recall what Wolfgang said originally.
For such reason, I implore you all to speak with the person whose blackmail you have, and them only. Even if the contents of the envelope seem horrible, gives the person a chance to explain themselves.
Regardless of the blackmail's contents, it would be treated as a matter between the recipient and the subject of the blackmail, and no one else. Which makes me wonder, could whether or not Wolfgang confronted his person clue us into what had originally been written on that note?
I'm not picking up what you're putting down.
He's saying, you know, whose blackmail did he have?
If that person somehow realized Wolfgang carried their blackmail, but never came forward about it, they could have demanded Wolfgang show it to them, hence the mention of a secret. However, if Wolfgang did confront his person, I don't see why that same person would then send him a threatening note. Not least act coy about information they both know.
If the person being blackmailed wasn't the one who wrote the note, who was?
Obviously, it would be the student with Wolfgang's blackmail.
Okay, they're going to suspect Damon.
Oh, I knew that.
Yes, the secret in question may actually be a reference to Wolfgang's blackmail, not the sender's.
Is there any way to figure out whose secret it is?
We'd probably need to know whose blackmail Wolfgang had first.
Oh, I've got just the idea.
Are we all going to show who's got whose?
Yo! Person who Wolfgang had blackmail on! If he gave you your blackmail back, can you say something?
I don't know if it's going to be that straightforward.
Don't forget the person with Wolfgang's blackmail.
Oh, right. Hey! Person who's got Wolfgang's blackmail! If you're innocent, say something already!
Is the best thing here, Damon, just to be open? If I'm innocent, I should say something. Will telling everyone I have Wolfgang's blackmail really guarantee my innocence in their eyes? I don't know. It's a tricky one, because obviously they all, a lot of these people already don't like Damon that well. Although everyone may follow my direction during the trial, since they can't ignore the evidence on my side, when it comes to me of all people owning Wolfgang's blackmail, how do I know they won't suddenly change their tune? They might chastise me for not revealing his blackmail sooner, or maybe they'll think I'm confessing and accuse me of murdering him. It's not like I won't be able to refute their arguments, but do I really want to subject myself to all that? I feel like you might want to do it. Does the trajectory of this trial really depend on whether or not
I was hesitant to admit it, since I knew it would put me on the spot.
Oh.
But I'd rather be suspected than be the reason this trial comes to a standstill.
Did Wolfgang have your blackmail?
Are you confessing? Do you have Wolfgang's blackmail?
Nah, not his.
Seriously? Way to be anticlimactic.
However, it's thanks to him that I have my own.
Your own?
Wolfgang approached me the same day everyone received an envelope. Funnily enough, it happened right after I'd finished speaking with my own person. He and we had a good talk. He gave me his envelope and asked me to take care of it. If you need the proof.
Wolfgang's envelope had the same signature.
Aye. I held on to the letter for safekeeping. This should have all been said sooner. I realize that. I suppose my pride was stronger than my rectitude. My mistake for stringing everyone along.
I mean, at least you're honest.
Truth. Thanks for letting us know, bud.
Indeed. To acknowledge one's own misdoings is a most virtuous feat, I believe.
So the envelope obviously said to Wolfgang Akire, but has information about Jean's blackmail. Right?
Right. It's very noble.
You gonna be open? If I revealed my blackmail right now, would everyone here treat me the same? Would they be just as forgiving?
I take it our other blackmail person isn't gonna step forward?
If nothing happens, let's just have everyone recite whose blackmail they got one by one.
Huh? You sure that's a good idea?
No one's reciting shit!
It was only a suggestion. Calm your farm.
This is a tricky one. But I feel like openness might be the way forward.
Even if we knew who had Wolfgang's blackmail, that doesn't necessarily mean they're his killer. It's annoying they won't speak up, sure. But unlike John, they would actually need to reveal Wolfgang's blackmail to prove they have it. This person might just want to respect Wolfgang's request to keep the blackmail between two people. Especially now that he's gone.
I don't know. Is it really okay if we never find out?
It is this is a difficult situation.
Circumstantial evidence alone can't prove something beyond a reasonable doubt. If we want to solve this case, we need indisputable evidence.
Yeah. It's like doing a jigsaw puzzle without the box art to help you.
The cases?
Obviously, the case. The more pieces you connect, the clearer the image you're constructing becomes. The clearer the image, the more you can assume about it. Do you see what I'm saying? Once we know how Wolfgang died, the rest of this case should fall into place.
You certainly talk a lot stranger than you used to. But I think I get it.
Well, I don't want to be the one to start, but we can all agree Wolfgang was stabbed to death, right?
No, we can't. There were no stab wounds. Stabbed to death?
When I was in the boiler room, I saw a knife bobbing around in the water near him. And on the ground, there was blood. Dried blood. On the boiler room floor and on the hallway floor.
That's gotta be Wolfgang's blood, right?
No.
The knife was bloody, so...
Huh. Seems like a brawl happened in the hallway.
I mean, I don't dispute right now that idea that maybe there was a scuffle, but Wolfgang's not the one who's been stabbed. Someone else must have an injury.
While poor Wolfie was minding his own business, he was confronted by the killer, who attacked him and chased him into the boiler room.
That would line up with how we found him.
The killer stabbed Wolfgang in the hallway, then followed him into the boiler room. No, that's not what happened. I need to show everyone where they've gone wrong. Does anyone else read the Tozu tablet? Same old question as, regular Danganronpa games. Does anybody read the Monokuma file?
Is this really how you guys think Wolfgang
It's got to be this
died?
one, right? Tozu tablet.
The bloody knife is way too big of a coincidence. It was floating in the water right next to him.
It could be that Wolfgang had it
Not
as a
just
defensive
that.
weapon.
There's blood on the boiler room floor and along the underground hallway.
Yeah, we don't dispute
A
that.
confrontation must have happened in those hallways.
Nah.
Possibly
it
a
was
confrontation,
probably a
yeah.
sneak attack. The killer snuck up on Wolfgang, stabbed him from behind,
No, I don't think it's that.
and the rest is history.
So it might be contradicting
With
Jet.
that knife-wielding villain on his tail, Wolfgang had no other place to run but the boiler room.
So, the killer entered the boiler room after him, which was when they, ended it.
It all makes sense.
Yeah, I'm just going to let them talk, even if I think I know which one it is I'm supposed to contradict. Whatever story they're trying to spin here, it's definitely not the truth. Conclude as much from the crime scene.
Is this really how you guys...
Yeah, it's got to be Jet who we contradict here.
It was probably a sneak attack. The killer snuck up on Wolfgang,
And? Yeah, thought so.
Jet, you talk a lot about the knife and the bloodstains on the floor. But did you ever look at Wolfgang himself?
I gave him a glance. Nothing too deep.
I figured. Had you actually taken the time to look at Wolfgang's back, you would have noticed a clear absence of stab wounds.
If you'd also looked at the Tozu tablet, it doesn't say anything about stab
In
wounds.
fact, none of the injuries he sustained were the type to cause severe blood loss. Seriously, we went over the same thing with Cassidy during the mock trial. Couldn't you give Wolfgang the dignity of a proper investigation?
Hey, man! It's not like I didn't try!
Damon just getting very accusatory.
It's just... This stuff doesn't come easy, you know? Nobody wakes up thinking they'll have to solve their buddy's murder later.
A fair point, yeah.
Isn't that exactly what you should be worrying about in a killing game?
True. But in fairness to you, you are inexperienced. You're not exactly pros at this.
Not everyone has the stomach for investigating. That's fine. That's why you got people like me to do the heavy lifting. Since some of us here weren't able to investigate Wolfgang's body, I'll lay out his injuries. There were 2 marks on the back of his neck, a bruise, and a tiny red dot. His hands were burnt too, so 3 injuries in total.
Yeah, that all makes sense.
Besides that, I caught nothing else.
Burns, you say?
Junior high, my dear Wilson. The killer used a flamethrower.
I don't know about that, Cassidy. Interestingly, though, I'm just thinking, what sort of things could cause burns in this place? When we say burns, it doesn't necessarily have to be like flame burns. Flame burns. Could be chemical burns, couldn't it, as well? Because there were cleaning supplies in the pharmacy. Imagine there's probably some very strong stuff in there. Ingrid probably would know, since apparently she's big into cleaning supplies or whatever it was. She uses subpar ones or something, I don't know. But that's the thing. Cleaning supplies like that wouldn't damage. Well, they might damage the clothes slightly, but not as bad as obviously if he was burnt with flames.
These didn't look like normal burns.
Yeah.
Not the
this.
sort you'd get from a stove fire, or a hot iron, or a flamethrower, I suppose.
Jean is kind of on the same page as me, thinking that's a wild suggestion, Cassidy.
Contradicting my theory outright? Jeez. So this is the thanks I get for vocalizing my thoughts?
No offense, but flamethrower, really?
Sorry, lass.
Yes, if I may add on to what Jean said, the burns actually bore a strong resemblance to what you might see in cases of corona paralysis.
Mm-hmm. I've not heard that term before, please explain.
Chiaro... Huh?
Ooh, now this I know.
Oh, okay.
Coronoparalysis. It's something which happens to lightning strike victims. Getting struck by lightning is like getting kicked by a horse. The impact is so shocking. Some people will lose all feeling in their limbs for a few hours.
I was aware of lightning paralysis, but even I didn't know its official name. That's a nice head you've got on your shoulders.
Lots of people tend to overlook the importance of lightning safety, especially where I'm from. My grandpappy once tried working out in the open during a thunderstorm. Pure luck's the only reason he lived to see the next day.
Okay, cool story. Not the time.
Sorry to hear that and all, but what does lightning have to do with anything?
Well, if I had to guess, Ulysses, did it look like a big old tree was drawn on Wolfie?
A big old tree. Yes, that's how I would describe the burns on Wolfgang.
So Wolfgang had lightning strike scars?
Well, evidently not caused by lightning, but by something else. Maybe chemicals, or if it's akin to a lightning strike, maybe caused by an electrical shock.
Huh? We're trapped inside a building, though. Lightning can't come from anywhere.
Could he not have been struck before the killing game? Fate is stronger than will, you know. Perhaps the deity decreed the glow of his altruism from their heavenly abode and felt him a threat.
Nay, those burns were fresh. One look was all it took for me to know that. If he had these scars before, we would have noticed them anyway.
Yeah, most likely.
But if those marks were recently inflicted, wouldn't it mean Wolfgang somehow went outside?
No. If it's caused by lightning, it means it's caused by electricity.
Not necessarily. This is only something I thought of just now, but the reason Wolfgang sustained burns similar to that of lightning strike victims may be because whatever inflicted his burns was equivalent in damage to a lightning strike.
Electrical discharge.
You saying there's something out here channeling the power of lightning?
Have you got that sort of what's the term I'm looking for? That typical vibe of Danganronpa characters being incredibly dramatic. The idea sounded ridiculous, but when I think back on the boiler room, what was inside it, right? If I take that object into consideration, Ulysses' theory starts to hold some weight. What, the Jenny? This over here? Oh, yeah. Don't do that. There's nothing else.
Ulysses, since you write everything down, do you have a description of the boiler room in your notebook?
Yes, I do. Why?
Well, tell us.
Since some people here never investigated the crime scene, they probably aren't as familiar with the room as we are. So, you should read out your description of it.
Sure. The boiler room consists of a small concrete platform surrounded by ankle-deep water. Throughout the room are boxes filled with various garbage, and in the back looks to be a generator, charred beyond belief. What you just heard is a brief summary of my notes.
Hear that? There's a generator inside the boiler room. Of all the things which could deal similar damage to a lightning strike, doesn't a generator sound the most likely?
Didn't Ulysses say it was destroyed?
Well, it was destroyed during the
At the
blackout.
time of the investigation, sure. But it wasn't always destroyed. You probably don't remember. But back when we found the dummy, I mentioned something about the underground floor.
Dining hall people, you're in this building before. Tell us what's going on. Yeah, why don't you mention this other girl The hell? I never even saw her. Huh? You were there too, bargain bin? Don't even. There's a floor below us. That's where I woke up.
To be more specific, it was the boiler room I woke up inside. I hadn't been alone either. Ava was also there.
I woke up first.
Yeah. She did.
She always likes to get that little one-upmanship.
Anyway, Ava, you agree the generator was in full working condition when we woke up, right?
Right.
So in the time since you woke up there, the generator was destroyed?
It's the only possibility. As for what destroyed the generator, well, it's hard to say for sure. My best guess would probably be...
Who's about to interrupt me?
Don't waste my
Yeah.
time.
I had a feeling someone was going to be here. Oh god, is it sword time? Rebuttal showdown.
2 things. First, destroyed is overly vague. Ulysses explained the state of the generator much better. Charred beyond belief. Second, and more importantly, where's your proof the generator inflicted those burns?
Well, we're maybe about to discuss that.
What are you talking about? The generator must be involved. It's near where Wolfgang is lying.
Being within range of something counts as proof now, does it? Do you also consider happenstance as conclusive evidence?
I mean, to be fair, Winona has a very good way of articulating what she's thinking, and she's not wrong, you know? We have to sort of show that, yes, it is possible for the generator to be the thing that inflicted the burns.
Finding how the standards shift, if so.
That?
Damn it, she's trying to make me look like an idiot. If I let this continue, the others might start to doubt me. Need to stop her before she veers the trial off track. You thought you were the only one with an interjection animation? Think again. Oh, here it is. Yeah, rebuttal showdown time. Okay, we can slow down and fast forward as normal. Cycle truth blades with Q. Okay. WASD to swipe. Sometimes a student will dislike your argument so much, initiate a one-on-one debate with you. We call this a rebuttal showdown. During the showdown, your opponent will fling a flurry of remarks at you and it's your job to counter them. Use WASD to slice through your opponent's argument. Naturally, slash in the direction of the button pressed. Yes, I will press my buttons and swipe in the direction. We turn into Sean Connery all of a sudden. To slice it diagonally, simply press 2 keys at the same time. Be sure to play close... I can't talk all of a sudden. Pay close attention to the shape, size and position of your opponent's remarks, as these will clue you into what direction you should slice. Every time you strike white text, green side of the screen will shift left to represent your argument succeeding. Likewise, every time you miss, orange side of the screen will shift right to show your opponent's winning. Cut through enough remarks, you'll advance to the next stage. If you haven't, you'll retreat. Somewhere in the middle, you and opponent will wrestle for control in a short round of cross swords, or to gain the upper hand, rapidly left click. Now to the meat of the duel, truth blades. Similar to non-stop debates, any suspected contradictions will be highlighted in gold. Hold down right-click to slice them apart with the truth blade. Of course, don't start slicing the second you see gold. Test the validity of the remark and check you have the correct truth blade equipped. Let's not keep Winona waiting any longer. To battle! Let's do it! Hopefully it'll be fairly straightforward. DJ Padclock, blackout, footsteps, Toto tablet. Oh god.
While the generator may look suspicious,
Shit, I need to slice.
consider the time frame we're working with. If the only time you saw the generator in full working condition was on the day of our kidnapping, that gives us a period of almost 4 days, in which the generator might have been destroyed.
What about the blackout? It's impossible for the generator to cause the blackout. If it was already broken prior to the tournament.
What about the blackout? The building may very well have lost its power at any point before or after the murder.
Before or
You only
after?
assume it happened during. Not the smartest argument from a supposed ultimate debater.
Oh, Jewel. Okay, hold on. It's fairly smooth and straightforward so far. No, the blackout is definitely connected to Wolfgang's death. A certain piece of evidence proves the two events are correlated. Shoot. Which ones do we have again?
What about the blackout?
We have the DJ pad clock, which might be it, actually, come to think of it. Where is it? Here. Blackout caused some kind of internal damage to his DJ pad. Which other ones do we actually have? Hold on.
The building may very
Footsteps
well have lost
does-
its
okay,
power at any point before
Hold on.
or after the murder.
Hold on. I need to look at this. That's just about where people... It's got to be the DJ pad thing, then.
You only assume it happened during it. Not the smartest argument from a supposed ultimate debater.
Gosh, she's going to make me retreat here. Blackout is definitely connected. Certain piece of evidence proves.
What about the blackout?
Sure.
The building may very well have lost its power at any point before or after.
Yeah, thought so. Okay, that was simple and straightforward.
When the blackout happened, it froze a piece of equipment which had been set up for the game tournament. Mark's DJ pad.
Talk, buddy.
While there was no physical clock inside the dining hall, a digital one has been built into Mark's pad. If you look at what time the digital clock is frozen on, it matches the time of death listed on the tablet. 9:35 a.m.
Well, Mark, is this true?
Oh, come on, dude.
There's no point in me saying anything when someone else has already said it better.
Don't freeze up on me, bud.
Just answer with a yes or no, will you?
Yes.
In any case, the matching times are too much of a coincidence. The destruction of the generator caused the blackout, and the blackout occurred at the time of the murder. There's no way the destruction of the generator wasn't tied to Wolfgang's death.
What do you suppose happened then?
I'm willing to bet the generator's destruction resulted in the boiler room's water becoming electrified.
Yeah. So we're back to my suspicion about electrification. Or electrocution, rather, being a potential cause of death here. And it would be something that wouldn't kill him straight away. It would take probably a few seconds, at least.
Since Wolfgang was discovered kneeling in the water, we can reason he was standing in it at the time this happened and...
Damon, you and I both know that's not true.
Huh?
Did you forget? It's impossible for the water in the boiler room to play a role in Wolfgang's murder.
You talking about the light bulb you did? Yeah, but that was after, when the generator was wrecked.
Because it isn't even conductive.
It's not?
After Damon and I woke up in the boiler room, I wanted to investigate the flooded area.
Oh no, you're talking about...
So, I tested the water.
Wait, was this way back in the prologue? Oh no, this was... Yeah, no, this was from the investigation. I thought she was referring to something she did in the prologue that I'd forgotten then, but no. At the corner of my eye, I saw Ava approach the pile of boxes and fish out a light bulb. Then without hesitation, she chucked it into the water.
I even redid my test during the investigation, since Damon wasn't sure if he should touch Wolfgang's wet clothes.
Oh, okay. Oh no, you did do it in the prologue, did you? And then you did it again.
In both instances, I proved the water was safe to enter. To be honest, neither result really surprised me. Water will only act as a conductor if it makes contact with two separate energy sources. The boiler room's generator is just one source.
If you're standing in the water, one outlet should be enough. Speaking from experience, large bodies of water are terrifying conductors during storms. All it takes is one lightning bolt, and the surrounding miles are scorched.
But the generator is a slow, persistent source of electricity. It's not the same as a lightning strike.
Electricity is electricity. Doesn't matter how it manifests. The reason you two avoided electrocution is because the generator's exposed wires aren't even touching the water. If they were, you would have been scorched right from the start.
So is this something to do with the extension cord then?
Maybe when the generator was destroyed, some of the wiring fell into the water?
Nah. Even in its current sorry state, the generator's wires are nowhere near the water.
It doesn't make sense for the generator to pose a danger anyway. The point of the killing game is for the students to kill each other, not for the facility to kill the students.
Yeah, but evidently it's part of a trap. So it's set up by someone.
A feature of the building killing a student would be a meaningless death because you can't attribute a student killer to it.
No, I don't think that's how it works.
As for why the generator's been charred, sometimes electrical faults happen. Even my ship's engines have broken under particularly relentless storms.
Sorry, Ava, I see where you're coming from, but I don't think Tozu sees it that way.
And if an electrical fault caused Wolfgang's death, then his murder is purely on the hosts, ain't it?
No, I think this is wishful thinking.
Of course. If we were responsible for his death, your lot wouldn't be here discussing it.
But the fact we are here discussing it says that someone else is responsible. Is the generator really unrelated to the case? But the timing of the blackout is too perfect. It can't be a coincidence.
Okay. Since we've ruled out the generator, what else could have electrocuted Wolfgang?
No, hold on.
It mightn't be relevant, but I did see one other thing on the boiler room floor.
Is he talking about the taser here, maybe? Right, I'm just going to take a jump cut because I just need to go to the bathroom. I might get myself another hot drink. 1 second, all. Testing. Alright, back in. So, let's keep going. Got myself a fresh cup of tea here. So, are we talking about the taser then?
A toy gun or something.
Okay, taser.
At least, that's how it came across to me.
Not a toy gun, a taser gun.
A taser? I'll shoot electricity!
I'm not sure how the taser fits in with this case, though. It doesn't seem to have been used.
Nope. The taser was definitely used.
Right, come on, you need to step up and tell us what information you've gleaned from this thing. Because you said something about part of it had been removed or something?
How so? I didn't catch any sort of string protruding from it.
Not all taser guns release a string when fired. Some are completely wireless.
Oh. Okay.
For those types, you can tell they've been used if their blast doors are missing.
Ah.
Side note, blast doors are plastic panels which cover the muzzle of a taser. If a shot is fired, they pop clean off. When I was investigating the crime scene, I found the taser gun in one spot and its blast doors in another. Speaks for itself, yeah?
And here I was thinking the yellow bits were just random trash.
Okay, so we are saying that the taser has been used. Okay. So, the taser is... Does this possibly bring me to my initial suspicion that... I don't know. Taser was used to start an electrical discharge or something?
Where the heck did a taser gun even come from? Last time I checked, there weren't any lying around in the storage closets.
Maybe it belongs to someone here.
Does it belong to Desmond?
Huh?
Came from someone's dorm room?
Just think about it for 1 second. Everyone here has a dorm room which is themed around their talent. Mine's got DJ equipment. Jet's got car batteries. If that's what we have with our talents, what could someone with a dangerous talent have?
Are you talking about, like, knives and stuff? What? Is there something on my face?
God damn it, Kai.
Forget this. The person I'm talking about is Desmond.
Huh?
No way! You think the gun is Desmond's?
Yeah.
Hang on. You've got it all mixed up.
Jean, do you know anything about this? As Desmond's roommate, perhaps you spotted something inside his dorm.
Did they bunk in Desmond's room, though, or did they bunk in Jean's room?
Alas, we stayed in my abode.
His.
I couldn't tell you if he had weapons.
Talk about suspicious.
Hold on. Even if it came from his room, that doesn't necessarily mean anything. The thing is, I still need to figure this out in my head in terms of how all these bits fit together. All these truth bullets.
Did Desmond agree to bunk in Jean's dorm so Jean wouldn't see the weapons in his?
Listen, I get where you guys are coming from, but that taser gun, it's not mine. I've never seen anything like it.
Alright, you're saying it's not yours then?
No. That's a lie.
A lie?
Oh? His attempt to feign innocence won't fool me. Not when I know the truth. Oh god, what are you remembering that I'm not? What proves he's lying? His talent? His charisma? Or his blackmail? Oh, his blackmail. That Ava had, didn't she? Said that he had a load of weapons. Is that what you're referring to? That doesn't say anything about a taser, though, specifically. But
I got it.
It's the only thing that kind of fits here.
The blackmail tools you gave us. That's my evidence.
You didn't get mine, did you?
No. But the person who did informed me of what it said.
Well, Ava, this may be the point where you have to speak up. Otherwise they're going to think Damon could be pulling things out of his ass. With his weapons at hand, Desmond Gar's the only one he trusts.
The writing style seems to match. I think it's legit.
That's more than a little suspicious, don't you think? Leaving a bunch of weapons unguarded during a killing game?
Don't judge me. This is the first time I'm hearing of it too.
You didn't know there were weapons in your room?
Yep, no idea.
Oh, so you're just outright claiming you didn't even know there were weapons there? Are they hidden?
Our rooms aren't particularly subtle in their theming. Are we supposed to believe yours is any different?
I mean, could we do what the cast of Trigger Happy Havoc did? Could we have a momentary detour to actually go out of the courtroom and visit his room and see?
It is themed. I'm not denying that. But I sure as hell didn't catch sight of any weapons. If I did, do you seriously think I'd leave them unguarded and risk being found out?
Yeah. Desmond cares too much about everyone. He pointed out the broken doorknobs and gave us the idea to bunk together. Why would he hide weapons in his room?
Someone must have gotten the idea to rifle through my dorm because of my talent, and found the taser gun hidden inside.
Okay, but who would that be?
There's no other way to explain it.
You see, I was wondering if maybe, could it be that the taser he gave to someone because they requested, but then again, no, I don't think he'd be dumb enough to do that.
So while Desmond gets a bunch of guns, all I get is an old game console and a dead controller.
This doesn't feel particularly fair, does it, Cassidy?
Take the bad with the good, dearest pupil. No one fears game consoles.
Well, no one besides parents and the religiously inclined.
Enough talking about consoles. Why are you guys believing Desmond so easily? If the taser gun belongs to him, then he's the killer. Any argument he makes against it...
No, I don't think so. And this is because I'm metagaming a bit, but we're only, about 1 hour-ish into this trial, a little over. And we're not done yet, there's a lot of stuff we haven't talked about.
It's just a flimsy excuse!
Right, what are we contradicting now? Let's have a look. Josh goes fetch quest, blackout, goes testing me, taser gun.
Desmond is the killer!
Let's listen to what they say.
The taser gun came from his room!
I had no idea the gun even existed. I was barely in my dorm to begin with.
Because you wanted to draw attention away from your weapons hoard!
But...
If this is about avoiding suspicion, why did Desmond say the taser gun was fired? I don't think a killer would draw attention to their own murder weapon.
I was with Desmond.
I call it reverse psychology. You sprinkle in a little helpfulness,
Oh, hold on.
suddenly everyone trusts you.
It's blackout,
When
isn't
the
it?
murder happened.
Eloise has spent her morning in the courtyard with Desmond. Okay, so I think we have to agree with Eloise using blackout. Right, I think I know. Is Desmond innocent? I'll compare the evidence to everyone's statements.
Desmond is the killer!
I think I know which it is. I think it's the consent point, this one.
I had no idea the gun even existed. I was barely in my dorm to begin with. Because you wanted to draw attention away from your weapons hoard.
If
this is about avoiding suspicion, why did Desmond
Hold on, we'll get there in a sec.
I don't think it...
Where's Eloise? Is she next? This one?
I got it.
Yes, thought so.
Regardless of whether or not Desmond knew about the gun, he definitely wasn't involved in the murder. Eloise can back me up on this.
Right. Desmond and I, we were together in the courtyard at the time of Wolfgang's death.
I see. Then both of you can be ruled out as suspects.
Don't just take her word for it. She could be covering for Desmond.
Jeez, if you have a bone to pick with these guys, at least save it for when we're not solving a murder.
Yeah. Why don't you want to believe Eloise?
Ever since the investigation, these two yuppies have been on my case non-stop. They're obviously working together.
What, ever since the investigation?
Not gonna lie, I see where Grace is coming from.
Do you?
When Eloise tried to single her out earlier, Desmond was pretty quick to jump in and agree.
Even so, since the topic has been brought up, I would like to mention something. During my trip to the pharmacy, I believe I saw Desmond and Eloise in the courtyard together.
You also said you were back in the hallways around 8-10 a.m., didn't you? That means those two were wandering around unsupervised. Either one of them could have left the courtyard.
Would there be an incentive for them to cover for each other, though?
If Desmond was the killer, what would Eloise gain from defending him?
Yes, that's a good question, and gets to the, to the question I just asked.
Should the wrong vote be cast, nothing about the rules suggests an accomplice of the killer would be exempt from execution.
That's right. And even if she was exempt, Eloise is too nice to be an accomplice to murder.
Yeah, those are people that are too nice.
Grace, I realize Desmond's irked you, but that's no reason to keep steering everyone down a dead end. Let's move on.
A person who's always steering others down a dead end, huh? I guess they needed a GPS.
Are you very much the comic relief character in this one, Cassidy?
Anyway, we should totally thank Desmond for clearing things up now.
Damon looked like he wasn't sure what to make of that remark.
Not only do we know he's not the killer, now we know how the killer got their hands on the taser.
Now we know how... What?
Someone must have gotten the idea to rifle through my dorm because of my talent, and found the taser gun hidden inside.
Yup, that is word for word what Desmond said.
Right. Good memory.
All in a day's work, baby!
Certain words that she sometimes says, which technically aren't in the text box, but it's fine.
Can you repeat that quote, Cassidy?
Again? But I just said it.
Yeah, but I want you to say it again.
Alright. Someone must have gotten the idea to rifle through my dorm because of my talent and found the taser gun hidden inside.
It is an interesting thing to say. Let's see where they go with this.
Is there something on your mind?
If Desmond's testimony is anything to go by, then wouldn't this mean the culprit has to be male?
Oh? You're saying that only guys can enter guys' rooms? Well, would that necessarily be the case, though? I.e., if that's the case that you can only enter a dorm room of someone who is the same sex as you, then how does that explain Ulysses, Winona, and Wolfgang and Grace?
What?
If I remember correctly, all the guys were aware of each other's pairings. With that sort of knowledge, a male student could try and infiltrate another male student's dorm.
Okay, you know what, that's a fair point. Sorry, yeah, I was thinking of regular Danganronpa. That also is a fair point.
None of us knew which room we'd be bunking in.
It only takes a quick peek to check if someone's inside or not. Anyone could have done that.
And who's to say the thief didn't barge in before we started bunking?
Or while people were having breakfast.
Seems there was a mountain of opportunities for our culprit to sneak in unnoticed. Doesn't exactly help us narrow things down, does it?
Is there anything else on your mind?
Well, guess this taser gun was a bust.
Look on the bright side. If it's been fired, then it's probably what electrocuted Wolfie. If trying to suss out who stole it isn't feasible, why don't we talk about Wolfie's other injuries instead?
See, part of me sort of sat here thinking, can I sort of get a suspicion on anyone based on whether they're trying to steer the conversation in particular directions? But I feel like there's a few people who've been doing that, so I'm not sure. Like Ingrid's doing it a bit here. Jean, I feel like, has been doing it a bit. But,
You know, the ones that weren't burn marks? Those seem like they could lead us somewhere.
Yeah. Besides the burns on his hands, Wolfgang also had a bruise and a tiny red dot on the back of his neck.
A bruise and a tiny dot, huh? Want to try tackling them in alphabetical order?
Alphabetical order? Now, aren't you full of smart ideas?
No, No need to thank me. It's only common sense.
Okay, let's discuss the bruise first.
Very well. So we're saying this is to do with the rolling pin? It's gotta be, right? Because, well, was it
I
Wolfgang's
think it's
neck?
safe to
I don't know, let's
say.
see. What does
The
Wolfgang's
killer
neck...
didn't use a flamethrower.
Hang on, what does his neck say again? Let me just check. Possibly got steel rolling pin. Discovered inside storage closet A. Small dent on one end. Two very clear handprints on the other. And neck. Huge discoloured mark. Possibly a bruise. Or possibly decomposition. Tiny red dot. No scabbing, it's just the dot appeared recently.
Maybe Wolfgang got into a fight? Someone might have attacked him and aimed for his neck.
If you can even reach that high.
Either way, something must have hit him.
Rolling pin?
What if Wolfie fell over? With how spindly he is, one tiny misstep could leave the poor fella bruised for days.
Skinny guys bruise easily, eh? Let's see if you're right. Ulysses, fall over.
No, thank you.
Something must have caused that bruise on Wolfgang's neck. What could it have been? Alright, so it's the
I
rolling
think
pin.
it's safe to say.
I think we got a consent with Kai.
Maybe Wolfgang got into a fight? Someone might have attacked him and aimed for his neck. If you can even reach that high. Either way.
Oh, here we go.
Something.
Yeah, thought so. Interesting music. Can I have your
Kai's
attention,
right.
please?
Something did hit Wolfgang.
There was a thing, wasn't there, in the prologue trial? Was it kind of like a perjury, like you can do in V3? I remember there being an extra mechanic that you can do. And I'm just wondering if that music then was the indicator that there was something I could do there. But I'm not sure. Guys, right, something did hit Wolfgang.
Really? Man. And I was only blurting out the first thing which came to mind. Anyway, from how you're wording things, do you know what that something is?
A rolling pin.
Eh?
Wolfgang was hit with a rolling pin.
How on earth did you reach that conclusion?
Ava and I found this pin inside storage closet A, which is just a few feet from the crime scene. Coincidentally, the pin also has a dent.
You sure that's enough to say it's involved? Could just be a flimsy pin.
Well, there's the bruise on the back of his neck.
No. There's something else which solidifies this pin's role in the murder. Handprints. 2 of them on the edge of the pin.
So the killer used a rolling pin to attack Wolfgang?
It certainly explains the bruising on his neck.
They must have wanted him to be unconscious so he wouldn't fight back.
And that's the thing. Like, I'm saying this whole thing could have been set up, one big trap, and Wolfgang's been locked in the room because the doorknobs have been switched. Now, see, there's a shrapnel, which makes me think there's some kind of charge has been set to maybe cause an electrical discharge or something.
Exactly. It would be easier to drag him into the water if he's not awake.
You reckon the killer purposely put Wolfie in the water?
Damn! With one electrified blow, Wolfgang is zapped to bits with the taser! Since he's lying in the water, he's definitely a goner.
Considering the logical ethos of the killer's rectitude, especially when governed under constricting pressure, leaving him catatonic would be the most facile solution.
You're using a lot of big words there. This feels like the verbal equivalent of when you're a teenager in high school and you're writing an essay and you're trying to pad it out with as much flowery, verbose language as possible because you haven't really actually got anything to say.
I guess it makes sense.
After shooting Wolfgang with the taser, what was the killer's next move? If I figure that out, I'll be one step closer to solving this case. Okay, so we are saying he was shot with a taser. I mean, it makes sense as a way of stunning him. Right. Footstep, steel rolling pin, storage closets.
So let me get this straight.
Hold on. Let me just check. Storage closets. Hang on, what were the other ones?
The killer knocked out Wolfgang with a rolling pin.
Footsteps,
And then chucked the pin into closet A?
When exactly did they discard the pin?
They couldn't have done it when Eva and I were already downstairs. Because the two of us went inside closet A.
Why were you inside the closet?
To find the backup generator, remember? Jet and I checked closet B. Damon and Kai checked closet C. Eva and Grace checked closet A. And Jean and Mark checked closet D.
The killer just discarded the pin before we came downstairs.
Yeah, I think Mark's right.
Might be contradicting Mark here.
Because the killer could run upstairs and go back to their room immediately after discarding the pin.
No, though, they couldn't, could they? Just because the killer placed the pin earlier doesn't mean they left before we arrived. Alright, it's got to be the footsteps then. Maybe it is Mark.
The killer knocked out Wolfgang with a rolling pin. And then chucked the pin into closet A? When exactly did they discard the pin?
Because the thing is, it's obviously the
They
problem
couldn't
of...
have done it when Eva and I were already
Yeah, this.
downstairs.
Because the two of us went inside closet A.
But that might be something we discuss in a moment.
The killer just discarded the pin before
This one?
upstairs.
No, not that one.
Leave me out of this. It's not my problem if you don't get it.
Maybe it's Diana we contradict then? Then why say anything in the first place?
So let me get this.
Hold on.
The killer knocked out Wolfgang with a rolling pin. And then chucked the pin into closet A? When exactly did they discard the pin? They couldn't have done it when Eva and I were already downstairs. Because the two of us went inside closet A. Why were you inside the closet? To find the backup generator, remember? Jet and I checked closet B. Damon and Kai checked closet C. Eva and Grace checked closet A. And Jean and Mark checked closet D.
Pretty sure that's all correct, isn't it?
The killer just discarded the pin
So it's not this one.
before we came downstairs. Yeah, I think Mark's right.
Well, no, the pin has to have been discarded before we came
Because
downstairs,
the
doesn't it?
killer could run
Upstairs and go back to their room.
immediately after.
Yeah, okay, yeah, it was that one.
Wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, I had a bit of a brain fart on Mark's statement there.
Diana, there's proof the killer fled the underground hallway at a later time. When the tournament attendees were looking for a backup generator, Kai and I heard someone run past our room.
Huh?
Yeah, can we talk about this?
Oh man, that's right. We were just exploring the closet when all of a sudden we heard footsteps in the hallway. That's when Damon decided he was gonna follow where the footsteps came from and entered the boiler room.
Did anyone else hear these footsteps?
Nope. Not ringing any bells.
Yeah, Jet and me didn't really hear it over all our talking.
I heard the footsteps.
Huh? You did?
Well, I initially thought it was my imagination, so I never said anything.
Ashamed to say I also brushed off the footsteps. Thought I was hearing things. However, since other people can attest to hearing them...
Then someone else was on the underground floor with us.
Before anyone tries to bring it up, none of the tournament attendees could have been the person running. Since everyone explored the closets in pairs, they all have solid alibis.
I'm sure we can all vouch for that, aye?
Everyone was still in their closets after Damon and I found Wolfgang. So,
Considering the footsteps were moving away from the crime scene, I think it's safe to say they belong to the killer.
Did they though? That's the thing, I still need to get a sense of whether the three-person rule about body discovery announcements is actually a thing in this game.
Wouldn't that mean the killer fled while you guys were exploring the rooms?
Hold on. So the killer had been right next to us?
I mean, possibly.
Joy, that's a given.
Okay, maybe that's what we're going with. Maybe the whole three-person thing isn't something in this one then.
huh? How are you so calm after hearing that? The only thing which stood between us and a murderer was a door. What if they attacked us?
Well, they did it, so I don't see what the problem is.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't attack you. Stay calm.
Jeez, you're weird.
Why not run away earlier, though? Fleeing while everyone is searching seems really risky.
Maybe it was a miscalculation?
Or maybe there was something else going on that meant they couldn't flee too quickly.
It's not impossible, I guess.
If not that, then maybe the killer returned to the boiler room after discarding the pin?
Maybe? But then why would they do that? Is there something else they need to do in there?
Sounds pretty meat-headed if you ask me.
Yes, you'd think a killer would use that moment to run away.
Unless they sort of anticipated that there's a possibility someone would come down. So they waited till the coast... Oh god, I don't know. It is a tricky one, this. What are you thinking?
For the two who heard the footsteps, describe the sound.
It was kinda... socky. As in, it sounded pretty soft. Like the person had taken off their shoes.
Saki, huh? Seems this killer was purposefully trying to keep quiet.
'Cause their footsteps were soft?
Yeah.
That seems like a leap in logic.
I mean, it kind of makes sense. We are assuming here, but there is a certain rationale to it.
No, I get what she's saying. Everyone here has socks on, I'm pretty sure. So any one of us could have run down the hallway. The thing with shoes is, not everyone here has the same kind. If the killer had worn theirs, we might have been able to figure out their footwear from the sound it made on the floor.
Yeah, there is a sense to that.
Then we just have to single out the person with that footwear. Man, it would have been so easy to find the killer.
We already can find the killer, though.
Oi, are you pulling our leg?
No, go ahead, Ava. What are you talking about?
I'm completely serious. Picture a map of the building complex in your head. The building with the dorms is on the left, the courtyard is in the middle, and the building with the tree is on the right.
Okay.
Now, try and pin everyone's locations during Wolfgang's murder.
Right. So 8 of us are in the dining hall. Eloise and Desmond are in the courtyard. There was a couple of people in the Tree of Life room, wasn't there? Ulysses and, was it Winona? So that's 12 of them. Toshiko and Ingrid, of course, are in the dorms. And Wolfgang's in the boiler room. So where's... Hold on. Who are we missing here? So Jet, hang on. Jet, Kai, Mark, Damon, Ava, Cassidy, Grace and Jean. They're the 8 in the dining hall. Toshiko and Ingrid obviously in the dorms. Desmond and Eloise in the courtyard. Ulysses and Winona are over in the Tree of Life area. Wolfgang, of course, is down in the boiler room. Who's the friggin' one I'm missing? I've forgotten. It's, shoot. Hold on. If I can look at the report cards, I'll remind myself. Hold on. Diana. Yeah, she's the odd one out then. Oh, I knew there was a... I knew my gut was being a bit weird about you. There was something off about you. I just could never get a read on your personality. So where was Diana at?
Once you do that, the identity of the killer will definitely become clear.
Are we saying... Well, she said she was in the dorms, right?
Is the killer someone whose position we can't place?
No, it's not about position.
Eh?
Wolfgang's killer can easily lie about their location during the murder. The only thing distinguishing their testimony from everyone else's is that theirs can't be corroborated.
So it's Diana. In which case, our killer... Yeah, that's right. The only one here who can possibly be the killer is you. Alright, well... You? What was my prediction about Diana? Okay, so I predicted Diana was going to be a survivor. But if indeed she is the killer, then I've got that one wrong. But let's see where this goes. Yeah, like I say, I know I've only got 40 seconds or so here, but I don't know, I've always had a bit of a funny gut feeling about you, just in terms of never being able to quite get a read on you.
It has to be you!
Diana, it's you, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It's the campfire and the mines, Philip. Press left mouse to fire cannons.
Death Trap.
Okay, it's a bit straightforward. It's kind of like a side-scrolling section. Right, so, oh god. Wow, I'm just fucking missing all the time.
What are they supposed to be? Just like skeletal sharks?
Yeah, they're like shipwreck sharks. They're good because they're made of shipwrecks.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, got a bit of lag there. Oh, there we go, pitch. Yeah, now a bit.
You're trying to kill them all, are you?
Yeah, I think I'm actually getting points.
Oh god, that damaged you. You've gone down to 9 hearts now instead of your 10.
Oh shit, that's big.
Oh, a death charge.
Yes.
Yeah, that took out a lot.
Yeah. It's good, isn't it?
Have you got unlimited of them?
Yeah, oh, look, I see you coming behind me. Shit.